Challenge Cup round 3 again, same as the champions. If you've not seen that video, there'll be a card in the top corner. But this is also a make or break week. Many teams will start to figure out if they will be if they will go through to the knockouts or if they'll drop out completely. Still, it's anyone's game, but if some teams, if they lose this week, that could be them just about out, and if alternatively if they win, this could be them just about through. So very, very tight, and some solid matchups as well. I know this is meant to be the second tier tournament, but there is still some really exciting matchups. So without further ado, let's get right into the action. So starting off at Kingston Park in Newcastle as the Falcons host Benetton. Newcastle are 5th in Pool 2 with 2 losses. Benetton are 3rd in Pool 2 with 1 win and 1 loss. Now, unfortunately, I can only see this going one way, which is, of course, the way of the Italians. Newcastle have looked appalling this season, if I'm going to be honest. They've still the only team taking part in any European competition not to have even won a game in the league, and they're well more than halfway through the Prem. Alternatively, Benetton have looked really, really impressive, sitting 2nd in the URC, suffering only 1 loss in the league, and they've got another loss, which is the second one which they suffered in Europe. So, yeah, I believe that loss was to Ospreys in Europe, and the URC loss was to Glasgow. Anyway, so, yep, I've got Benetton down to beat Newcastle. Up next, we've got Ospreys versus Perpignan. Ospreys are sitting in 4th in Pool 2 with 1 win and 1 loss. As I just said, they beat Benetton. And Perpignan are sitting dead last, 6th in Pool 2 with 2 losses. Ospreys have looked pretty solid over the Christmas derbies. I believe they won 2 games. They beat Cardiff. Did they win the other game? I believe they did beat Scarlets, didn't they? So, yeah, Ospreys have looked pretty solid over the 2 derbies, the Christmas and New Year's derbies. Perpignan, yeah, I don't think they're quite as hot in the top 14, if I'm going to be honest. So yeah, in Wales, I have to give it to Ospreys. Next up, we head to South Africa, and a team that has been struggling in their league, but not doing too badly in the first couple of games of Europe, is the Sharks. Not Sale, the South African Sharks. They are sitting 2nd in Pool 1 with 1 win and 1 loss, which the 1 win match is what they got in the league. And they face Onyx, who are sitting bottom of Pool 1 with 2 losses. Now, Sharks recently back in South Africa haven't actually looked that bad. They've just suffered a couple of losses to other South African teams, like the last 2 have been to Stormers and to Lions, which, yeah, I think once the European teams start facing them in South Africa, they will start picking up a good few wins. So I think they will have no problem when Onyx come there. I am predicting a Sharks win, probably by quite a lot, to be honest. I can see Sharks winning in 50-60 points. Unfortunately for Onyx, good for Sharks, depending on how you want to look at it. But yeah, next up we have got Clermont hosting the Scarlets. Clermont are 4th in Pool 3 with 1 win and 1 loss. Scarlets are dead last in 6th in Pool 3 with 2 losses. Clermont looked very, very physically solid and good against Edinburgh, where they got their win in round 1. Didn't manage to catch the Gloucester game, but they did lose to Gloucester. Scarlets, though, they've just had a poor season all round again. It's been a bad few years for Scarlets, to be honest. They've lost both their games, losing to the Georgian team, which I still don't know if that's quite an embarrassing loss or the Georgian team are actually a solid team, because I've only seen 2 games from them, so I still can't quite judge them yet. But yeah, I have sided with Clermont here. I just think that they are, especially in France, quite tough to beat. Moving on, an all URC clash and an all bottom of the URC clash, but it could be a solid clash, to be honest with you, as Zebra host the Dragons. Zebra are 4th in Pool 1 with 1 loss and 1 win. Dragons are 3rd in Pool 1 with 1 loss and 1 win. So this is like a massive fight for survival, to be honest with you. You think the team that wins this game will probably make the knockouts. The team that loses will have a fight in the last game. Zebra have looked pretty solid this season compared to what they have been. They have managed to win a couple of games, which is more than they did last season, and most of the season before that as well. So yeah, I'm quite happy with Zebra. Dragons themselves, they picked up a good win over Scarlets last time out, so they will also have a bit of confidence going into this game. I have actually given the win to the Dragons. I'm not 100% sure why. I can see it being quite a tight game, but I think the wealth of players Dragons have, I think they will manage it. Next up, back to Pool 3, back to France, as we have Castres hosting the Georgians Black Lion. Now, Castres are a team that are very, very tough to judge at times. Sometimes they're pretty solid. They managed to quite easily dispatch Scarlets in round 1, but looked quite poor against Edinburgh in round 2, so it's quite tough to judge them. Black Lion, this is the first time I've really seen them, the first time in a proper Tier 1 rugby tournament, and they have actually picked themselves up a win. They ran Gloucester close in round 1, only losing by 5 or so points in Georgia, and then actually beat Scarlets in Wales. Going to France will be a bit tougher than going to Wales though, but I have actually predicted them to win this. I don't know why, I have a good feeling about Black Lion that they might go on and do something good here. I'd love to see it as well. It's more of just a hope. Sorry Castres, but I'd absolutely love the Georgian to do well, because if Black Lion do well in this, who's to say they're not going to bring in a couple more Georgian teams, which would be absolutely massive for the sport in Georgia. So yeah. Next up, we have a very juicy encounter, and as an Edinburgh fan, I am sitting licking my lips. We have Edinburgh at home at the Hive, facing top of Pool 3, Gloucester. Edinburgh are 5th with 1 win and 1 loss, and 5th you might think, but I think 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th are all tied on league points. They're just points difference separating them, so yeah. Gloucester in the league have lost 9 in a row. They've been horrible in the league. Europe, they've been solid. They won their first 2 games away to Black Lion and at home to Clermont. The Black Lion game again, I don't want to judge because I'm not sure where Black Lion are. Winning at home to Clermont though is a good win for them, to be honest. Yeah, but I have gone with an Edinburgh win. Edinburgh at the Hive, I will be there. My season ticket has come into action. It is set to be sold out for the first time this season, which is always good. Yeah, you just look at the players Edinburgh have got and gone, I know Gloucester have some solid players, but Edinburgh shouldn't lose this game. It's Edinburgh's game to lose. I'm going to say it. Edinburgh should not lose this game. They're going to lose it, but I'm saying they're not, so I have actually predicted Edinburgh win. Back your team. Back them. I know I sometimes don't back Edinburgh, but I am in this case. It is a big game for them. But yeah, moving on. Back to France as Montpellier hosts the Lions. This is a massive encounter. 1st versus 2nd in Pool 2. Both teams won their first 2 games. Montpellier are 1st, Lions are 2nd. In France as well, I have sided with Montpellier due to, again, as I always claim, France is a tough place to go for the other European teams. Europe's a tough place for South African teams to go. France will be even tougher. This is really Lions one of their first times going and playing in France. They might have played in it last season, I cannot remember. I would imagine they did. But yeah, this is going to be a tough game for them. Montpellier haven't looked too hot themselves. Lions have looked solid so far, to be fair to them, but in France is going to be a very, very tough ask. Not many teams can go to France and get the win. And then last but not least, we have the Cheetahs, the South African Cheetahs, who are sitting top of Pool 1 with 2 wins as they face Pau, who are sitting in 5th in Pool 1 with 1 loss and 1 win. In South Africa though, I can only see this going one way, which is the way of the Cheetahs. Pau have already been to South Africa and got absolutely decimated by the Sharks, so I can see something similar happening here, to be honest with you. I wasn't sure what the Cheetahs would be like because they're not playing really in a top league apart from the Currie Cup this year, but they seem to be pretty solid. Their home at Bloemfontein is a very, very tough place to go. So yeah, there's my predictions. So Benetton to beat Newcastle, Ospreys to beat Perpignan, Sharks to beat Onyx, Clermont to beat Scarlets, Dragons to beat Zebra, Black Lion to beat Castres, Edinburgh to beat Gloucester, Montpellier to beat Lions, and Cheetahs to beat Pau. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe. Until next time, I shall see you later.